about chipping in. It's about going all the way in,
my friend.
Because, okay, I personally think women, like Nadia always says, women are very comfortable being taken care of. None of us wants to go in this traffic jam every single morning and break our backs and work.
Are you sure?
We don't like that. We don't like that.
It seems like you do.
No. The thing is,
are you sure?
It's not fun. I think the next question in that segment of double income households, because this is where we are at now. Like, a woman has to work because of all those other responsibilities on our part as well. We also have families and people that look up to us. Can we achieve, is it possible for double income households, or where a woman earns, a man earns, or even if a woman earns more than a man?
Especially if a woman earns more than a man.
Can there be the same amount of love, respect, and all these basic needs that a man has? Let's say, yes, I can take care of myself and I can go on a trip to Dubai. So I'm not asking you for that.
I can take care of my parents, I can do everything. My uncle swallows a slasher, I am good. I won't ask you for your money.
Exactly. So now we're in this home together. I think that the dynamics change mostly on those core needs of love, respect, I don't know, all those things you talked about.
Attention, all these other small things.
So give us your perspective on that.
Well, I mean, it's an important point that you're raising. And we are living in a reality where, I mean, we're sending girls to school. So, of course, they're going to get jobs and of course they're going to work. And in relationships, if they ever couple up with a man and start to build a family together or live together, you'll have now a dual income household. Now, how do you deal with that? There's a famous quote. It says, his money is our money,
yes,
my money
and
is
my
my
money is my money. Yes.
Right. And so a lot of ladies use the money they earn for their personal needs. And as you mentioned,
taking care of our parents
and family. And that's very understandable. I guess the question is this. Are you asking a man to say, all right, I see that you need to use your money to take care of your family and your personal things. Therefore, I accept the responsibility of taking care of you. What guarantees are you giving men that that's a worthwhile investment? Because on the flip side, if he had a woman from a more humble background and who was, let's say, let me give an example of, let's say, a stay-at-home mom, or maybe someone who's not working full-time, but is more sort of traditional in how she looks after him and the family and so forth. Wouldn't a man benefit more from an arrangement like that if he had to, in some way, support her in the event of a personal family tragedy for which she needs help? Because if it were me and I was coupled with a woman that who didn't have the means to support her family, I would be happy to chip in. To take care of some of her family's.
It's not about chipping in. It's about going all the way in,
my friend.
Because I personally think women, like Nadia always says, women are very comfortable being taken care of. None of us wants to go in this traffic jam every single morning and break our backs and work.
Are you sure?
We don't like that. We don't like that.
It seems like you do.
No. The thing is,
are you sure?
It's not fun.
It's
not fun. That is when you just look at social media and you're like, well, why can't I have this life?
Exactly.
Wait a minute.
Why am I the one hustling?
Are you saying you want to be a housewife?
I would prefer. If I could choose, if I had a man taking care of me.
Taking care of, like, if we say taking care.
So why don't you do that?
The thing is, at some point, the men start telling you, okay, you're not being a gold digger. Because
but also, where are the men who can do that?
Exactly. Where are they?
That's facts. Where are they?
Because they only want to spend to a certain extent. For me, I want, if at all I am a housewife, okay, you may not have, Kanye's money, but I want to live Kim's lifestyle. Or I can travel anytime. I'll do for you everything. But if I want to travel, I have to travel. If I want to go shopping, I can shop. Like, provide all that, and you will have a woman who literally like massage your feet every single day.
So that's why. So what ends up happening is that men end up seeking women with more humble expectations. Like your expectations are quite high, and it could be by virtue of the fact that you are highly educated, you are exposed, you know what's out there in the world.
And you've tasted the good
You've
life
tasted
because
the
you
good
can
life.
afford it.
Exactly. So if you've been living, so let's say you're a 30-year-old woman, and you know you've been working since you graduated.
Yeah.
You've been living in your apartment, taking care of yourself, going on vacations with your girlfriends, and doing all that kind of stuff. Of course, if a man were to ask you then, please be a housewife, you will feel as though that there's a lifestyle change that's going to happen for you that you may not be willing to tolerate. And yeah, you might put pressure on a man to say, okay, but then are you going to do this for me? Are you going to take me on trips and vacations? Are you going to help me maintain the lifestyle I was living before I became a housewife? And I believe many men may find that to be a challenge. And so that's why if you sort of want a more traditional domestic arrangement, you are going to have to, and this is something men will have to understand, you are going to have to look for women from more humble backgrounds and with humble expectations. Perhaps someone who hasn't seen too much of the world who would be expecting those kinds of things. So you're going to have to just get some simple girl who's just content and happy to get the basics. But someone who wants the world, you're going to have to be a millionaire. And which is why what ends up happening is for a lot of career women, because of those expectations, they end up chasing the same very few number of men who have money. And there's not that many men who have money.
Sure.
And so you're going to find yourself sharing one rich man among 10 or 15 of you.
The problem I have with a man choosing a woman from a humble background is when he decides to have his side chick.
Exactly.
He's going to go for the
one who now intrigues him mentally, who can challenge him. So there is like a doormat at home
it's temporary.
who is the so-called wife.
Yeah.
Then now, why aren't you satisfied with your doormat?
The side chick will be the one that is traveling.
Exactly. Who is traveling? Who is getting all this lavish,
all the bougie life?
Everything.
All right. So I guess it will depend on the man's circumstances. If he's wealthy enough to have the disposable income to afford to give a woman that kind of a lifestyle. And typically, yes, this does happen later in life, because if a man married younger and he married someone from a more humble background, typically that would be a woman who would have been happy to live that way, at least at the start. And if she was supportive enough and allowed him to focus on building his empire and his business and career and so forth, and he gets to the point where he now has money, and he has enough money to splash around, then he's likely to start chasing those slay queens.
His needs also change.
Because picking up from that point, whenever men get money, their expectations of women goes higher. The man with money is not gonna go for a nantumbwe from I don't know where. He wants this class of women. There's
a joke I heard. It says, never date broke men, because the only reason he's dating you is because you're the woman he can afford.
Exactly. Exactly. That is very true.
It's not proof of love. It's just you're the best he can do for now.
Yeah.
And the day he gets rich,
he'll then move on to another person.
And there goes your life.
Exactly.
But I like to think what happens is that for the men who get the slay queens later on in life, they at least make sure that their homes are taken care of. A lot of men do maintain a high level of respect for the official wife who birthed his first children. And this is the woman he will typically parade when he's going for events, functions, gatherings. He's not going to take a slay queen.
But why aren't you satisfied with that traditional one?
Well, I'm saying, look, men have sexual appetites that need to be met, and sometimes, and biologically, there's an argument to be made as to why we are wired to want to seek sexual variety as men, and women.
Yes, and women too. Let's bring that up. Yes.
Well, the thing is, the more he has the means to attract women, like if he gets more money, then he's gonna want to get out there and see what else he can get. But I guess, but the argument really is about the choice of woman that you want to be with, whether a career woman, whether the slay queen, whether the local girl or whatever it is. And I think in the minds of most men, when it comes to long-term relationship, I think a woman who isn't career-focused still ends up being the best option. Now, from the men's perspective. Now, if you are a career woman, what does that mean? What?
I beg your pardon, a career woman still ends up being the best option.
No.
Huh? Is that what he said?
A career woman will not be the best option.
Okay, so we have seen a lot of socialites, especially in Uganda, who she doesn't have a job. They say they have a business, but but they are living this lavish lifestyle, and they are getting these very rich men.
And some of them actually married.
Exactly, and some of them are actually married, and the men do not seem to be complaining. So how do you explain that then?
And the next question that we'll go to is what men actually find attractive.
Well, I think men find femininity attractive, and if you were to look at some of the socialites you speak of, they're gorgeous. And yeah, when a man has money, he wants a shiny object, he wants a trophy. There's an element of bragging going on, where he wants a trophy wife that stands by his side, that she becomes a
flashy object,
measure of his success. So he's got the Bentley and he's got the hot girl, the hot chick in town. I would chalk that up to a little bit of immaturity, but if that's what he wants,
is it an ego thing or lack thereof?
Or ego, yeah. But typically, even such men, have you not noticed that a lot of them will still keep a nice, humble girl somewhere?
Not really.
You've not seen that happening?
No.
We haven't heard of. Maybe they're really in the background somewhere.
Exactly, really in the background.
Away.
Because a lot of these men who are marrying or funding these socialites, most of them, all we know about them is it's just that woman. Maybe yes, he dated people in the past before getting money, but most of them do not have a first wife who was married, and most of them have these shiny objects, as you call them. And I'm trying to ask myself, what is wrong with that? First of all, why do men? Because most of these ladies have been labeled as gold diggers, but the man is not complaining. So what is wrong with that?
Well, I personally have never taken issue with a woman who wants to be with a man for money. I mean, I've been in situations and relationships, if you can call them that, in which it was very clear she was interested in a financially beneficial situation.
Doesn't every woman?
No, but explicitly so.
All of us want stability. I think every woman, even your so-called traditional woman.
No, as in a chick telling you, yeah, you like me, I can hang with you, I can be with you, but
pay me for my
okay. I'm gonna need to be taken care of, and if you're willing to do that, I can be with you for a little bit. So I have no issue with that kind of situation. Okay, I won't say that's prostitution, because in a way dating invariably ends up being a form of prostitution.
In the modern day,
there's a cost to it.
There's a cost attached. You pay. The only difference is the amount and the payment terms. But you're to get a woman, you're paying. And so I take no issue with that. I just need to understand that the terms are clear and that I am getting my money's worth, if it is that. Either if I'm giving exactly. So if you're expecting from me some kind of a weekly allowance, in my head I have to assess whether or not the value you give me is commensurate to what the funds that I'm dispersing to you, or if it's more if it's taking the shape of a relationship and your expectation is dinners, dates, lunches, movies, all of which is still money anyway. I need to understand the amount of effort that I'm putting in and money. Is it worth what I get back? And these are the calculations that men make. And so we look at the career woman and say, what are her expectations? Because even career women are actually quite expensive to date. I don't know if you know this.
I know it for sure.
See, people think
expensive.
This is what they say. Oh, you're always complaining about women asking for money. Why don't you date a career woman? That way you won't have to spend money. But that's the biggest lie. You actually spend more money on a career woman. You know why? It's because she has more sophisticated tastes, right? So, humble girl, I can impress her by taking her to Cafe Java's.
KFC.
All right, KFC. She's like, wow, you like I can take her to KFC once in a month, and she's like, wow, I've got the best dude, right? But a career woman who's in KFC or Java's every other day, it's no big deal. To impress her, I have to take her to somewhere more high end.
But then you're not taking her as frequent.
If I'm buying her, if it's her birthday and I need to, or if she needs a new phone. The simple, humble girl, I can buy her a Techno, and she's like, wow, what a sweet guy. And yet, if it's a career woman...
I met campus stars these days.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're not career women, but their taste is like all the way the other side.
They know which bars, like the
okay,
latest,
fine.
the latest.
And you're right. These campus girls, they're those who will even reject Technos. But then what about a career woman? If a campus girl will reject a Techno, do you think a career woman will ever touch one?
But
So she's going to want to have the latest iPhone or the latest...
In most cases, she won't even ask you for that because she can actually afford it.
No, but if you want to come through for her.
If you...
Yes.
And that's why there's that if. It's not as if she is demanding. For example,
But the expectations are there. I lost my phone. And I was like, maybe he'll come through.
And you guys have very sneaky ways of doing it. She may not ask you directly, hey honey, buy me a new phone, but she'll just get your phone and put it in a place where it's easy for you to see. And then somehow she'll sneakily and sarcastically say, honey, guy, aren't you seeing my phone has issues? What do you think about it? What are you going to do about it? And then before you know it, you're like, oh, I get it. She's expecting me to buy the phone. And then,
so what are men actually attracted to?
Femininity as expressed through acts of nurturing and acts of service.
Are you guys looking for mothers to sleep with them? Because it's like as if you have mommy issues.
But it's like saying if you want a man who provides for you, are you looking for a father?
Yes, a provider is like, and that's why we call them zaddy.
But I mean, I think as human beings, that's what we want. We want that. We want our women to bring to our lives what our mothers brought to our lives. And you want a man to bring to your life what your father brought to your life. I think this is inescapable.
So it's basically the intrinsic gender thing that each person has. Like the men have the masculine energy, which comes with providing, protecting.
Yes.
And women have the nurturing and, all that stuff.
Exactly. And so you get to a middle point where there's an exchange, and then that's what makes it beautiful. Now, for the career woman, they tend to want the provisioning and the protecting. They may have their money, but they still want it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Meanwhile, they wish to withhold all of the traditional things they used to provide in exchange for what they want from men. And that's why as men we're feeling like it's a raw deal. So you want me, the successful man to provide for you, to look after you, build a family together, allow you to use your money to take care of your family needs, whereas I'm supposed to use mine to take care of all of us and my family's needs. Well, and yet at the same time, you're going to be running around in meetings and offices and partying and all that.
And you don't want restrictions.
And you don't want restrictions. I don't get to tell you to do anything. What do I get out of it? I think most men would think of that as a raw deal. And so they typically will shy away from career women for serious long-term relationships. Career women are perfect for casual relationships. They're the best. I mean, they're smart. You go to a high-end bar in Cementio or wherever, and you just talk about things happening in the world. You talk about pop culture. You talk about movies, and have crazy sex after that. That's fine. But that woman's never gonna make you a meal, or if she does, it'll be once in a blue moon. And if she does, it'll be after lots of complaining. And yet, for the other type of girl, it comes more naturally, comes without a fuss, and it's easier. So that's the thing.
If we can afford a maid, why should it be that they have to make your meal or clean your house? Or I'm already going through the burden of getting pregnant and taking care of your babies and everything because
so that's the thing. So like if you're dating career women, and most bachelors already have maids if they're living by themselves or living in their apartments. They'll have a woman who is either coming regularly, daily, or every once in a while to clean the house and in some instances prepare meals. So if what you're saying is, well, we can get a maid, well, guess what? The bachelor already has that.
But
so what value are you?
The kids.
So the question is, what value? Okay, now that's another thing. Children. And I would agree that children are probably best raised in a scenario where both the parents are together.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it still boils down to the same thing. Who's going to be if it's a career woman, it will still be a third party raising the kids, wouldn't it? The child's either going to be in the daycare or there's going to be a nanny. So as the man, I don't even get to benefit from having the mother of my children look after our children. That is going to be outsourced. So then why even be together then? Couldn't I not have a child through outside of a formal relationship and also then get a nanny to look after the baby? Like, what's the difference? What's the difference? Because you are taking away from us all of the past benefits you used to bring to our lives. Mm-hmm. And yet you want all of the full benefits you used to get. I think it's a bit of a raw deal. I would like to ask you a question. As a career woman, both of you as career women, what's the kind of guy that you want?
Problems.
What relationship arrangement would make you happy? And the reason I'm asking is, I would like to understand if you appreciate the reality of the situation, understanding whether or not your options are realistic, and understanding whether or not you may be able to find the kind of men that you're looking for. Because when you say, why don't men want career women? Let's try and understand if there are men who are interested in career women. So who's the man you're looking for?
Okay, so very masculine man. I like, you have to.
What does masculine mean?
Masculine is you provide, you protect, you do everything that my father did for my mother. Because while I was growing up, my father was the provider, my father was the protector. Yeah. Like, literally, provision and protection is really our biggest.
So you want a man who will do for you everything that your father did?
For my mother, not my father did for me. I'm not looking for a daddy.
Okay.
But growing up, I saw that provision was by the man. Right now, most families, a lot of families, the man is...
The scales have tipped.
Yeah, the scales are totally tipped. The woman is paying rent. The woman is paying school fees. The man chips in once in a while, especially in a household whereby the woman earns more, which is becoming very common now. And the men have now become so comfortable being taken care of.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother them. He wakes up in the morning and, you don't even see his salary. But he comes to a cooked meal, the kids are paid in school, healthcare is being taken care of, everything, including his car is probably bought by a woman, and they're very comfortable.
So what income level would you be looking at?
Take home.
What income level?
What range?
Take home. Minimum.
They have to have a very decent income.
5 million monthly.
If you have one child, I'm not even sure that's enough.
8 million, 10?
Yeah, thereabout.
All right, so how many jobs?
Let me give mine. Although I think we are similar,
yours?
But slightly different. I like masculine men. Like in that sense, like a guy that's authoritative. A guy that... An authority comes in different ways. Like when you speak, I listen. You're not forcing it down my throat, but you command that kind of respect. Mm-hmm. You are, of course, a provider. But I also recently learned to accept that I also like a bit of the feminine side of a guy, which I was always in denial of, which is the empathy.
Yes. They can show emotions.
Yeah. Of course, you should be down to do some of the nice things that, even if you don't necessarily want to go out and watch Barbie as a movie, but it's something you could do for me, just like I would sit down and watch basketball or football with you. And then I think one thing that I really, really find, that I've learned to accept also as a career woman, is to lower my expectations in terms of what men bring to the table. Like, I also ask, what do I bring to the table to make this whole thing work? So in terms of money, I dated guys who had a lot of money and they were assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I'm like, dating a guy that is nice to me is more important, but should also bring in some money.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what, no, but what is that? So how much are we looking at?
So personally right now,
Ideally.
I'm okay with us earning the same amount of money. Like, we do 50-50. Though I would not be comfortable with that because you trade off some of the respect. So my right ratio is
the
70-30.
resentment starts to come
So
in.
meaning you should earn slightly more.
Exactly. Slightly higher.
Percentage more.
Yeah.
30% more.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to give us a range.
You know, ranges are very restrictive.
Yeah. It's
And,
restrictive.
you know, for example, let's say I earn...
But you gave us one. You said 8 to 10. Seems good.
But you see, a guy that has a house of his own and earns 5 mil take
Yes,
home,
exactly. It's okay because
okay.
we're not
Yeah.
paying rent.
We're not paying rent.
We probably also have health insurance
Yeah.
for the kids.
Yeah.
So we are just looking at school fees.
So if
that
a guy
is
who
gonna be
also comes
okay.
from a stable family, like
Yeah.
doesn't have to look after his parents, his siblings, and earns 5 million take home.
That is also
that's
very
also
okay.
fine. So you don't have other backlog.
The thing is, I
in your life.
don't want to be put in a point whereby I start resenting you as a man. Because now I am picking up the slack every single time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, what I'm going to tell you is career women actually, majority of the so-called single mothers, actually not career women. Most career women are going to try to hold it together and pick up the slack. Of, you know, he has now become irresponsible and there's really nothing much I'm getting out of him. But I know I can pick up the slack. So I'm going to stay there, but I will resent him so much. Yes.
But I honestly don't think it's the case. I've spoken to some women, quite a number of women actually, who earn a lot of money. And the thing that they appreciate most about their men is empathy. And that's why I began to see that that's something that is very important because he's supportive of you. When you're a career woman, you have a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You come back home with work stress, he's helping you through that. He's talking you through like hard times and they begin to say, oh my God, this guy, even if he doesn't have this much money, he helps me be this kind of person.
Exactly.
And
He's a good father.
He's a good father.
He's
he's
present.
a good partner.
He's a listener.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many men in Uganda earn the kind of income that would you consider attractive enough? Because you gave us 8 to 10. You're saying give or take 5. Okay.
Yeah.
5
How many?
if you have a house,
You have a house.
already and
Okay.
you're not paying rent.
5. So if you
So in other words,
so if you
it's-
own your
it's
house,
about
5 million
8.
is good. So we're looking
if
at
you don't-
8.
Yeah, it's about 8.
Okay. How many men in Uganda earn a net of 8 million?
They're actually quite many.
How many? So these would be typically corporate workers.
I think business people actually earn way more than we think.
But
The
business people-
business people in this country earn way more than that.
No, business people have assets. The cash flow is always tight. The money is tight, always. They have investments, they have, you know, stuff around, but ask for the physical cash, it's not readily available. Actually, a salary earner has more cash flow than a business person. But in terms of their net worth, the business person, of course, topples more. So the people are there.
Well, okay, so here's my thing. You are in competition with a lot of ladies because if we talk to every woman out there and ask them the same question, they'd probably give me similar figures, right?
Yeah.
And so there are so few men in this space that earn that kind of income.
Yeah.
Think of the kind of options that they have. Because now with the kind of income that they earn, they can attract all kinds of women.
Yeah.
And you know, you ladies here, you seem to be you are young, of course, but I'm guessing none of you are any of you in your 20s?
No.
Okay. So the guy earning 8 million, he can get the 20-year-old, the 21-year-old, the 29-year-old, the 26-year-old, and then the 30-year-olds. They're all gonna want guys like them. So a guy like that is going to expect a lot. And are you able to offer that? You're demanding a lot while offering little. And the man who is earning the level of income that you find acceptable is able to attract women who can offer more.
Exactly.
So aren't you putting yourselves in trouble in a way? Because a man who's earning 8 million probably will not want a woman that's going to, who is probably going to want a woman that can be more caring, more nurturing, and has more time for him than a career woman might.
So, can a woman have it all? Can you have a career and still have the man? In your perspective,
the kind of man
I think it's
your dream guy.
Yes.
I think it's hard because typically it sounds like you want managers, CEOs, and that caliber of men, right? And the kind of men who rise to such positions are typically very hardworking, very driven guys, very masculine guys, and so they want feminine women. Which is why a lot of career women, if you meet the men in their lives, they typically tend to be, not to sound harsh, weak men.
Yes.
Or the men seem to be younger or stuff like that. So I feel like you need to think about what it is you wish to offer and understand that will only attract a certain type of man. And the men you will attract will be outside of the type of men that you are seeking, who earn the incomes that you want.
Okay, so my final question. Fatboy, why do you think women are so triggered with the question, what do you bring to the table? I feel it's such a derogatory term. Why do you think women are triggered by that? What do you bring to the table?
Because I believe women, I don't want to use the word narcissist, but women feel...
You already used it.
Women feel that they're inherently valuable for simply existing.
But what's wrong with that?
I am the occasion. I am the
whereas for men, we understand that our value comes in terms of what we can actually physically and tangibly offer a woman.
But
I would never enter a relationship and go to a woman and say, I want you to love me for me. I would go in knowing I have to, at some level, provide her a good life, provide her a good lifestyle, and provide certain things. And failing to do that, if she were to leave me, I actually wouldn't even take offense at that. I'd think to myself, okay, I need to up my game. I need to work harder. I need to make more money. So for men, we're very comfortable being evaluated based on what we bring. Women, not so much. They want to be evaluated just either on beauty, I guess.
But I feel as if men are the ones who set that standard for themselves.
What standard?
Of your worth is only measured according to your level of income. You guys set it because you guys right now, what drives you the most is the money you bring in. I don't think we impose that on men from way back.
You do indirectly based on your behavior, because if I'm pursuing a woman, I notice that the more resources I inject into our interactions, the more receptive, the more positive she is towards me. The more fancy dates I take her on.
Yeah, can you start add there? Like, just even when you ask a woman out on a date and you tell her where would you want to go, you will see where she'll pick out. That's already setting the bar.
Exactly. We offer certain gifts and we see her reaction, and that tells us, okay, these are the things that make her happy, and so we keep doing that. I guess they call it positive reinforcement, right? Where I try something and I see your reaction. And if it's a positive reaction, I'm like, that's my cue to do more of it. And so I do more of it. So I don't think women explicitly state, bring money. But through your actions, we can see that that's what you want. And I feel like the same would be true for women if they were more observant. If you notice that your man is more receptive towards you when you are subservient, when you listen, when you're nurturing, when you're sexual, that's when he tends to be quite receptive and quite positive. And that's your cue to do more of that. And I would encourage women to do that and to just listen to that feedback and to observe that feedback from their man. Do more of that and be happy. The problem is, I guess, you're expecting a lot more than most men can offer and complaining that they're falling short of your expectations. Now, if you are a career woman, unfortunately, your expectations are going to be sky high. You are going to have to reduce your expectations. Otherwise, you're just going to be frustrated.
On that question you asked about what do you bring to the table, one of my friends was going on a date with this guy. And then the guy stated all his terms. Like, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that.
What did he say?
So it was a transaction.
As in what?
Of course, he said you would expect that they would, like, if they start dating, he said sex is very important to me. We need to see each other more often. Like, he gave his terms, basically.
Okay.
And she was offended in a way that he was asking for all these things. I'm thinking, this is your time to now also communicate your needs. Like, we should be comfortable knowing what we bring to the table or what we expect given to us. I don't think calling a man an asshole for asking for sex or expecting sex at some point in the relationship.
At some point. Because at the very beginning of you, as you are trying to pursue me, and then you're putting all these things.
No, I'm just telling you.
It's
I'm
just
like
communicating.
This is what I would need.
It's a transaction.
This is a primal need for me as me.
But what's wrong with the transaction? Transactions are fine. Are you opposed to a man stating his terms?
At the beginning of the relationship, I am opposed. Because at that time, you're still trying to win me. First, I don't know.
But why do I win you with lies when I can give you
It's not about lies. You know, Nadia, someone may not say something and it is still okay. I'm not telling you lie to me. At the end of the day, the sex is going to come. But if on the first day, you're telling me,
you need to
so
know from day
I
one,
want sex, I love sex a lot, I want it 4 times a day.
Exactly.
Come on.
So you come in knowing this is what I'm expecting. So I think the question of what you bring to the table is so uncomfortable for us because we do not do that self-reflection of what am I actually bringing on board besides my looks. And even if it's the looks, I just put them on the table. I'm going to look fine every time you show up. Like, own it.
Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of women think sex does it. A lot of women think that's all they're required to bring into a relationship.
Because it's the men's
I saw this joke.
need.
Yes, and I saw this joke where people were responding to, there was a bit of a trend going where they were mocking this whole thing of after so much I did for you. And then, did you see that? And then the response was, people were just posting this emoji of a peach, which signifies, I guess, the fruit, right? And ultimately, a lot of women, that is what they offer and that is what they bring. Now, to be fair,
the peach signifies ass, by the way.
Ass.
Yash.
Okay.
Yash.
Yash. Well, for most men, typically that's all they expect or need from a woman. That's true. You see, the bare minimum is enough to please us. So why aren't you willing to accept the bare minimum from us?
The bare minimum is not enough to please you because you want me to cook, you want me to clean, you want me to rub your feet, you want me to be supportive. All these things is not a bare minimum from a woman.
That's all one thing.
Food, sex, silence.
Food, sex, respect. Is it silence really?
Feed me, have sex with me, and leave me alone.
The silence is peace, right?
Yeah.
All right. That was a very interesting conversation. I can't say my understanding of men has been made better. I still feel men are a very complicated creature. And I don't think we shall ever get a win-win. We shall always have these fights, and you probably just have to choose your poison and be like, okay, what can I put up with? And
have realistic expectations, because that's very important.
Yeah, it is. Otherwise, you're going to just keep circling back to this and wondering what it is that's going wrong. Whereas as men, for us, we're very clear. We know what we want. I know what I want. And so I'm not complaining. And if I get out there and I'm not meeting women that offer what I want, I'm like, yeah, okay, so be it. I deal with them based on their terms. If she's a career woman who thinks that all I want is to have conversations and stuff like that, and go on dates, I'm happy to do that if you're attractive enough, and we'll frolic about for a little bit before either one of us gets tired and things wrap up. But I am disinclined personally to look at a career woman as a very strong, viable contender for a life partner. Maybe my views might change, but currently I feel like it's not something that I'd be rushing for.
So I know I'd say my final question, but I'm going to ask another question again. You have a daughter, right? Would you want your daughter to marry you? I'm not meaning you as in you, but like someone like you. Yes.
Yeah, a guy who would want to look after her and provide for her. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would hope that my daughter is not raised to be a feminist. Her mother is a very down-to-earth person. Who respects, who holds very traditional views on relationships. And so I think she'll be raised well. If my daughter opts to focus on a career, I would never stop her, of course. I would just let her know of the potential pitfalls. If she wishes to start a family, if she wishes to be coupled up with a a sensible partner, I would say to her that if you focus on your career, you might find it difficult to do so. And if she then proceeds anyway, and then ends up in a string of failed relationships with fuckboys and losers, I'll say, well, I told you. But hey, you're always welcome to come back home, baby. You're my child, so I got your back.
All right.
That's Zaddy speaking now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fatherly you is speaking. So we have come to the end of this episode. James, it's been so great hosting you and hearing your views. I am glad we didn't fight too much.
Yeah.
We don't agree on so many things, but I respect your views, and I know you have very well represented the boy child.
Yeah.
So I actually want to hear from the females, you know, the ladies out there. Do you think you can be a career woman and have it all? Or do you think men have unrealistic expectations? And the men, do you think we women have unrealistic expectations? So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and until next time, bye.